Good evening, and welcome to Simply Raw News at the Flavor Production Studio in the Black Wall Street District. I'm your anchor, Mandolin, reporting for the month of August 2020. We begin our report concerning the mental health of American descendants of enslaved people. Black Americans suffer from PTSD and Stockholm Syndrome. And with infested America being in control of the narrative of Black people for hundreds of years, they have spread their lies over many nations. White racists have spread bold-faced lies concerning how dangerous Black men are and deceiving many into thinking Black people are all criminals. There is truly much work to do socially, legally, and politically. Black people continue to suffer from PTSD, and the evidence of daily life proves it. Constant looking around for cops, and if you get pulled over, you don't know if you will be beaten past recognition or killed once in their custody. Walking in a store, Black people are followed and assumed that they are there to steal. Being looked at unfavorably due to white racist lies and feeling out of place just about everywhere you go, not knowing if you will be treated fairly with respect from doctors, in court, on the job, and what about education? Our real education without the lies in American history books passed down to our children. Tell the real story of how America was built on the backs of Black people, from its wealth to its status, and about the contributions, and let's not get into compensation for hate-infested America's theft of land, murders, hangings, rapes, and mental, verbal, and physical abuse. The defamation of our character, which is part of the reason many of us can't move on due to people denying us what we deserve and blocking us on many levels. There are so many hidden, underhanded secrets and ways used to stand in the way of our larger masses of people becoming successful. The list is unending. We address various acts of abuse, dealing with other races and solving those problems. But Blacks are an abused people, and our issues remain ignored and unresolved. How do we repair ourselves internally and seek permanent remedies for healing? For every strike, every insult, every assault Blacks see televised furthers the depth of our abuse and inhibits our ability to heal. Reverse the scenario. If Blacks frequently openly abuse whites, would you love us and make every effort to work with us as you emulate and try to fit into our society? We must change the narrative and recondition our people and stop the lie that we can't work together. We can't fix America's hate problem. It's a white issue that plagues this country that only they can fix. We must focus on what we can do for our own to move forward, never forgetting the past so that we can stop repeating the same mistakes and marching and protesting as if it makes a difference. And here we are repeating the same thing that has changed nothing. Over to you, Star Child.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to Simply Raw News. I'm Star Child Sinclair, and here's tonight's news. Lion of the Civil Rights Movement and five-term congressional representative John Lewis died from pancreatic cancer at the age of 80. Born February 21, 1940 in Troy, Alabama to sharecroppers, he was forced to attend segregated schools like other Black children during that time. Inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s radio broadcasts, he felt compelled to begin a life of activism. At the age of 18, he wrote a letter to Dr. King, who responded by purchasing a round-trip bus ticket to Montgomery for him so they could meet. This meeting set him on the course of a lifelong fight for justice and equality. While attending Fisk University in Tennessee, he led numerous demonstrations in Nashville against racial segregation, including sit-ins at segregated lunch counters as part of the Nashville sit-ins. Starting in 1961, he took part in a series of demonstrations that became known as the Freedom Rides, in which he and other activists, Black and white, rode together on buses through the South to challenge the region's lack of enforcing a Supreme Court ruling that deemed segregated public bus rides unconstitutional. Upon stopping, the activists on these rides were often beaten or arrested. He was the last remaining survivor of the historic March on Washington in 1963 and its youngest speaker. On March 7, 1965, now infamously known as Bloody Sunday, Lewis was in the process of leading hundreds of demonstrators in a march for voting rights from Selma to Montgomery when they were greeted by Alabama state troopers. The troopers beat and tear-gassed the demonstrators after ordering them to disperse. One of those troopers fractured Lewis' skull, scarring his head for life. Televised images of the beatings of Mr. Lewis and scores of others outraged the nation and galvanized support for the Voting Rights Act, which President Lyndon B. Johnson presented to a joint session of Congress 8 days later and signed into law on August 6th. Lewis was elected to the Atlanta City Council in 1981 and then to Congress, representing Georgia's 5th District in 1986. Lewis was known as the conscience of the Congressional Black Caucus and Congress. A true fighter for justice until the end, Mr. Lewis recently visited Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington, D.C. His mere presence encouraged a new generation of activists to speak up and speak out and to continue bending the arc toward justice and freedom. In a statement from the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Black Caucus has lost our longest surviving member. The city of Atlanta has lost one of its most fearless leaders. The civil rights movement has lost an icon, and the world has lost a legend. Rest in peace, Mr. Lewis. You certainly earned it. More news after the break, so stay tuned.
Ladies, are you tired of these trifling hoes always trying to get your man's attention? The random over-friendly girl always asking him questions? Well, you need to run, not walk, to your local perfume counter and grab you a bottle of this awesome new fragrance. Ho Be Gone. As soon as the unsuspecting thought approaches, give her 2 good sprays and watch her ass poof like a vapor in thin air.
What the hell just happened?
Obviously, you a hoe.
Lord, mercy on me.
Hi, I'm Justice Rose, reporting another Black History moment, the history of Black Wall Street. During the oil boom of the early 1900s, northeast Oklahoma's Greenwood district around Tulsa became known as Black Wall Street. This nickname for this community was given by the African-American author and educator, Booker T. Washington. Black Wall Street was renowned as one of the most prosperous Black-owned American communities in the United States, which at that time didn't allow Blacks to shop at white-owned stores. Everything changed May 31st of 1921 with the Tulsa race riot. The town's Tribune reported that a Black man attempted to rape a white woman. The story was a lie and just gave whites a reason to kill and destroy the community before there was an investigation in the matter. A mob of white people set fire and bombed hundreds of Black-owned businesses and homes in Greenwood. More than 300 Black people were killed and 800 were injured. It was a murderous massacre of men, women, and children. More than 10,000 Black people were left homeless and 40 community blocks were left smoldering. Survivors recounted Black bodies loaded on trains and dumped off bridges into the Arkansas River. Neither the survivors nor their families ever received the reparations suggested by the Tulsa Race Riot Commission. The commission recommended reparations for people who lost property. It never manifested into a tangible reality. Despite its significance as the worst race riot in America, it remains a mystery to many, just as most crimes committed by whites during those times. During the Tulsa race riot, there were 15 well-known Black American physicians, one of whom, Dr. A.C. Jackson, was considered the most able Negro surgeon in America by the Mayo brothers. Dr. Jackson was shot to death as he surrendered on his porch during the unrest. Black Wall Street was rebuilt and gained more than 100 more Black American businesses than there were before. the massacre until the 1960s, when desegregation allowed blacks to shop in areas from which they were previously restricted. Tolson scarcely spoke of the traumatic event. Textbooks omitted references to this ugly chapter in American history as well. It wasn't until 1998 that authorities began investigating the claims of mass graves. This is another example of Black American history that has been lost, forgotten, or betrayed as an ugly side of American history, too conveniently swept under the rug. Once again, I'm Justice Rose reporting a Black History Moment.
We have something special for our audience this evening. We would like to introduce you to DPXU, one of SL's amazing poets, CEO of XU Productions, Dream Effects, and founder of the Wordsmith Awards, and Soleil, talented promoter of Soul Star Management and co-founder of the Wordsmith Awards. Together, they've created a platform to acknowledge talented poets on the grid.
Hi, good evening. This is a Soleil Star. We're having the Wordsmith Awards at Left Stones. And Left Stones is pretty much named in honor of Diva Stone and Mr. Lefty Black Blitz. And it was something that me and DPXU came up with in honor of them for our Soul Star Entertainment Company, where we have performances and now we have DJs. So now it's turned into a club too. Tonight, we did the Wordsmith Awards, and you want to tell them about the Wordsmith Awards, DP?
The Wordsmith Awards is once a year when we at Gimme the Mic and Soul Star Entertainment, we celebrate spoken word artists, because it's a known fact that spoken word artists, they don't really get the credit that they should. And with me being one myself, I felt like that it needed to happen. Everybody else has an award show, but not us. So I came to Soleil. We put our heads together, sat down, put together a committee, and last year we did our first one. It was a big success, so it was like, hey, let's do it again. And it seems as if this time it was bigger than last year. So I would have to say that people love poets. You just don't know it.
We now introduce you to 3 of the winners from the 2nd Annual Wordsmith Awards. We'll start with this young lady right here. After you've introduced yourself, please tell us what inspired you.
My name is Naya Portofino, and I have been writing for as long as I can remember. Poetry, stories, and things of this sort. It's been the last few years that my inspiration has come from my dominant and through the insistence from my sister's soul. I decided to start reading and singing professionally.
Okay, my name is Tatiana Bully Delaroy, aka Tati. I have been a working poet in real life for over 13 years, and I have been a working poet on SL for the last 4.5 years. And my inspiration is I just love to have people ride my words. I love the fact of being able to take people to places just by me speaking. So that is definitely my inspiration.
Hi, my name is Anthony Lionheart. I've been writing poetry for like 14 years. My inspiration, it came from kind of not having nobody to talk to, being the only child. So I kind of found poetry and it became my medicine and my therapy. So the inspiration was I just needed to self-heal. I needed a way to talk to somebody or something. And so poetry was the outlet.
Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations on your win. Now, over to you, Ajax.
Thank you, Mandolin. We first would like to acknowledge Mystique for the trophy design. Such beautiful craftsmanship, Mystique. The list of the winners are as follows. Best Female Spoken Word Artist, Tatiana Bully De La Roy. Best Male Spoken Word Artist, Anthony Lionheart. Best Erotic Spoken Word Artist, Nuri Eos Portofino. Best Political Conscious Spoken Word Artist, Angus Amantry. Best Comical Spoken Word Artist, Tatiana Bully De La Roy. Best Poetry and Open Mic Venue, Verse and Vinyl, Tora Ari Sinclair Ito. Best Legacy Poet of the Year, Trey F. Valentino Merci. Best Newcomer Spoken Word Artist, Tora Ari Sinclair Ito, and also J. Smooth Parks Inglewood. Best Lyricist Rapper Award, Anthony Lionheart. People's Choice Award, Spoken Word Artist of the Year, our very own DP Zoo. Humanitarian for Spoken Word Artist, Trey F. Valentino Merci. The Subby Dalgleish Hall of Fame Award 2020, Lady Sen Laval. This was the Hall of Fame award last year. Subby was added in honor of Subtlety Dalgleish. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Thank you for tuning into our program. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Your support and comments are always appreciated. Find us at www.facebook.com/groups/Simply Raw to Envy. I'm your anchor, Mandolin, reporting for Simply Raw News. Good night.